Capitalist Burns wanted to reprice electricity rates. He gathered a group of economists and had them stand with rate proposals taped to their backs. Then he let his hounds make the final decision. The elderly man became a meal for the electricity price hike meant TV stations could no longer afford power. The elderly also unplugged their oxygen tanks because of the electricity costs. Schools could only resort to potato-powered electricity. The only downside was it was prone to breaking down. At this point, the superintendent called all teachers to a meeting. Due to rising electricity costs, the government could no longer maintain all schools. Every student would have to take a standardized test. The school with the lowest scores would be permanently closed. The testing officials arrived soon. When the exam began, students made frequent mistakes due to nervousness. Some even fainted on the spot. The principal and superintendent anxiously awaited the results. The testing official said it wasn't the worst school in the state. It was a school even worse than the worst school. Springfield Elementary was therefore eliminated. All students were assigned to new schools suited for them. The twin sisters were forced to separate. Nelson was assigned to a psychiatric elementary school. At that moment, Bart strolled over very casually. Lisa said her hard-earned credits had gone to waste. Bart said he hadn't taken the test. Instead, he experienced something he considered more meaningful. He had played with a bug in the grass for a long time. Lisa said if Bart had taken the test, if he could raise the average score, the school could be saved. Lisa immediately told the testing official about this. The principal found Bart and begged him to study hard, but Bart refused to help people who didn't respect him. The principal offered to give up his chair. The next day, Bart walked into school full of confidence. All the teachers and students had high expectations of him. As he approached the exam room, Bart became scared. He made an excuse asking the principal to sharpen his pencil. He told the principal he hadn't reviewed at all. He had fallen asleep on a tree while reviewing. The school's fate was in Bart's hands. The principal tried to find a way to delay the test. Bart suggested pulling the fire alarm. Then he gestured with his hand and walked into the classroom. The test was forced to stop. Bart felt smug watching the principal break the rules for him. The principal said he had bought some time, so don't mess it up. However, back at home, Bart started playing with his slingshot. Then Lisa came to ask about Bart's study progress. Unexpectedly, Bart jumped onto his bed and fell asleep. Lisa said Bart's behavior was very selfish. Then her words became like a lullaby, putting Bart to sleep. In his dream, the school bully didn't know how to divide the pizza, and the teacher had become a nighttime worker. The school had even turned into a spinach farm. Bart woke up from his nightmare and begged Lisa for help. Lisa said answering questions was more important than understanding them. For questions you can't solve, just guess the correct answer. The next day, the exam began, and Bart answered seriously. He remembered what Lisa had told him. Soon, only a few seconds remained in the test. Bart had only one question left. At that moment, a ladybug crawled onto his test paper.
Is correct. Congratulations, you made it by 1.
Was Springfield Elementary really saved by a ladybug? Or did the testing official show mercy out of consideration for human nature? Meanwhile, due to the electricity rate increase, Marge threw away many appliances from the house. Homer drove to the junkyard. He accidentally noticed a parking meter that was still working, so he came up with the idea of starting a company. When no one was looking, he placed the meter by the roadside, then he hid in the bushes. At that moment, Flanders happened to pass by. He swiped his card and found there was no response. Homer received an unexpected windfall. Then he moved the meter to different locations to collect money. He didn't even spare the captain by the seaside. Soon, Homer dragged a large bag of money home. Unfortunately, Bart, who was doing homework, saw him. Soon, Bart was bribed with money. The next day, Homer planned to deposit the coins at the bank. But at that moment, the news was broadcasting this story. The police were trying hard to catch someone carrying a large amount of coins. With no other choice, Homer could only operate at night, but he was still spotted by the police. Just as the police were celebrating, Homer seized the chance to escape. Homer endured the pain and braked, only to crash into a fence. The coins in the meter scattered all over the ground.